bit more. So thank you, and President Trump is prepared to answer any of your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John, for the sharp and illuminating talk. You mapped out how diaspora organizing, when rooted in clarity, strategy, and purpose, can reshape global narratives and exert real political pressure on authoritarian regimes. I would now like to invite our next speaker, Mardia Mumtaz, a lecturer in the Department of Civil Engineering at Daffodil International University. A Buit graduate with a master's in structural engineering, she brings a rare blend of technical expertise and deep civic engagement. Her talk is titled History Repeating Itself: Patterns of State Power and Resistance in Bangladesh, 1970 to 2024. Assalamualaikum. So, thank you all for being present here, and I am very much thankful for the conference authority for choosing my paper. Today I am talking about history repeating itself, pattern of state power and resistance in Bangladesh, 1970 to 2024. I am Mardia Mumtaz, as you have learned, my details. So we will be talking about these points, the theoretical framework of the research, then timeline of political uprising in Bangladesh, patterns of state response, civil resistance and people's agency, causes of recurrence, critical turning point in Bangladesh political trajectory. So in 2024, we have seen a different situation. The reason I am calling this a different situation is its immediate context and scale. We have never learned it even in the mid of July of 2024 that we are going to see or witness this history in front of our eyes. The Bangladeshi state has historically responded to popular protests with repression, legal restrictions and institutional suppressions before. 2024 is not the first one, right? So since independence, we have witnessed key political upheavals in 70, 75, 90, 96, etc. So there are some common patterns in these our common tactics in this phenomena, like mass protest, imposition of curfew, road blockades, police or military force, in some cases military takeovers. So the theoretical framework for this work was, number one, historical recurrence. There is historical recurrence in the protest movements, state repression and institutional breakdown. And number two, authoritarian resilience. The government tried to stop the revolution or bend the systems or the tools like reshaping laws, institutions and security forces. Number three, protest cycles, and number four, democratic backsliding. So here are the years, like 1970, we have witnessed mass upsurge of independence. In 1975, assassination of Sheikh Mujib and subsequent coups. And in 1990, fall of Irshad's regime. And 1996, election-related unrest and caretaker government. And lastly, in 2024, July uprising. So Bangladesh has experienced several significant uprisings in these years, and each event reflects social unrest and the struggle for political rights. And we can see a common pattern. So I guess this will be an interesting journey in upcoming 4 slides. So number one is the use of curfews and emergency laws. We are talking about the patterns of state response, how the state responded to these protests or to these systematic changes. So, number one was the use of curfews and emergency laws, and interestingly, it has got a pattern. In 1971, there were curfew. In 75, there were curfew and subsequent coups, and then December 90, and then again in 2007, and in July 2024, we have seen curfew for 5 days. So this has got a pattern. It is coming again and again. Number two is police and military intervention. So similarly, you can see in this table, in March 25, 1971, we have seen military Operation Searchlight, and then in 75, November 3 to 7, there was a huge political unrest, and we have seen military mutinies in December 90, and subsequently January 2007 and 8, and then July 2024. Number three is the control of media and narratives, and we can see another same pattern. In 1971, we have seen West Pakistan censored all Dhaka media. In 75 to 81, state-run BTV tightly controlled under post-Muslim governments. And then in 2007 and 8, we have also seen some media control mechanisms. In 2018, we have seen we had a Digital Security Act, and in 2024 we have seen it in a mass scale. Number four is crackdowns on opposition and civil movements, and I have 2 minutes, so I have to just go through it. You can see the years. So the recurrence is sometimes boring, but it is there. So where are we? Civil resistance and people's agency, we can see the similarity of the patterns of Nur Muhammad, Colonel Tahir, or the 28th October martyrs and Abu Said. So there are some also common patterns here. What are the causes of this recurrence? I guess in our paper we have placed 4 reasons: institutional weakness, lack of democratic accountability, culture of impunity, and then political polarization. So the moment we are talking is very important. Are we heading towards another recurrence? Are we heading towards another revolution? Or do we want it again? Or can we afford it? So the answer is no, always no. So we have to reform our institutions, and we have to create space for the dissent, and we have to remake democratic participation as well. So this is the summary you can see. So from 1970 to 2024, we have curfews, we had military or police crackdowns, we had media censorships and suppression of opposition. So these are the key structural causes behind the recurrence, like institutional weakness, etc. So our target is, we do not want these phenomena to happen again in Bangladesh. So that's why our civil society must be allowed to operate freely without fear of repression, and youth participation is also important, not only in protest leadership but in policy making. And ultimately, the legacy of the July Revolution will depend on whether the country chooses to learn from history or continue to repeat it. So in my last slide, I've written a line: we must learn from history, not just remember it. So thank you for your patience. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Marmi and Mumtaz, for your thoughtful and powerful talk. Now we move on to our third talk, titled Student-Led July-August Revolution in Bangladesh, Developing Political Consciousness Within a Non-Critical and Traditional Higher Education System. Presented by Muhammad Ubaidul Haq and Hazrat Bilal. Muhammad Ubaidul Haq is a scheduling scholar and development practitioner at the University College London, and Muhammad Hazrat Bilal is a technical specialist in education and Plan International.
Assalamu alaikum. I would like to thank the organizer who gave us the floor to share our paper and also welcome everyone to our presentation. Our presentation title is Student July-August Revolution in Bangladesh, Developing Political Consciousness Within a Traditional Education System. Here the author is Mr. Muhammad Ubaidullah, the Sheikhing alumnus and the Education and Development Practitioner, and the co-author Muhammad Hazrul Bilal, Technical Specialist Planetars Bangladesh, who is presenting it for you. So let's go to the background, our study. We conducted the research based on the historic revolution, what is happening in 2024, student against discrimination. Here the triggering point was the restatement of discrimination quota system and total repression of dissent and protesters. For what culminated in regime change, finally we have found that the end of Sheikh Hasina's era of 16 years rule, where after revolution we found that the symbolic acts of student political consciousness and acting responsibility in different type of tasks, including cleaning the street, traffic control, and protecting minorities, and so on. So, why we conducted the research? There's the specific rationale. We found that traditionally higher education system in Bangladesh reproduce passive learning and maintain